USC made a big statement on Saturday night, and that's big with a B, a 1, and a G, because they prove they can beat you more than just with the great quarterback play and the explosiveness on the perimeter, but they prove they can also beat you at the line of scrimmage against a line of scrimmage football team.
From LA to Piscataway, all Big Ten all year long. This is Big Ten 10.
USC is standing tall after a 31-13 victory over the 15th ranked Michigan Wolverines on Big Ten Saturday night. And you might say they're standing as tall as a redwood. I've got my t-shirt that I got from visiting the redwoods in Northern California this summer, and they were like a redwood. They had some big old roots on the ground. USC ran the football really well in this matchup. We're going to get into all of the things that the Trojans did well, and we will talk about Michigan towards the end of this thing as well. But I wanted to lead off with this. This is the biggest win of Lincoln Riley's USC career. This was a statement made that not only can Lincoln do the quarterback thing, do the wide receiver thing, do the explosive offense. We all know that. We've known that for a while with Lincoln Riley. This is Lincoln looking Sharon Moore in the eyes after, Sharon maybe pouring a little bit of fuel on it with his comments regarding, hey, the Coliseum is going to be packed because Michigan fans are going to be there. This is Lincoln Riley looking into the eyes of Sharon Moore and say, okay, you want to play smash mouth football? We can line up at the line of scrimmage and we can beat you at your own game. And that's what happened with USC. And when USC is playing well at the line of scrimmage, and then you stack on what Jaden Mayava is doing this season, you stack on just the absolute weapon that Makai Lemon is on the perimeter for USC, you have a really good football team. How good can USC be this year? I'm not sure. We're going to find out next week when they go to Notre Dame. But we'll save that for later on in the week. Let's kind of dive in here a little bit more into this matchup and what really stood out to me. Now, both of these teams had their top running backs go down in this matchup. Justice Haynes, of course, for Michigan, and Wayman Jordan for the Trojans. One team, their running back goes down, and, the guy that fills in for them had an okay performance in relief, but the guy that came out of the bullpen for the Trojans was just an absolute stone cold killer. If you want to crown him, then crown him. And put the crown on King Miller because he was the king on the ground tonight. Just absolutely explosive through the middle. The freshman, when Jordan's not in there, when Eli Sanders is not in there, it just proves the depth of this running back room. How about 18 carries, 158 yards, and a touchdown? He was awesome. USC was doing it on the ground. They were doing it through the air. They had an extremely balanced offense. Before I go any further talking about this Trojans offensive unit, you got to give a big time shout out to this offensive line. Due to injuries, there was some kind of shuffling going around, and maybe they didn't play their best, obviously, against Illinois, and maybe there were some questions for the Cardinal and Gold front, but they played really well, as I said at the beginning of this. They played really well at the line of scrimmage against a line of scrimmage football team. If you would have told me coming into this game, USC is going to be able to push back Michigan, they're going to be able to open run lanes, Jade Mayava is going to have time to throw the ball down the field, I say, yeah, USC is going to have probably a lot of success on offense. And that's exactly what happened. They had a lot of success on offense against what Michigan was able to do. They contained the pass rush throughout this game coming off the edge for the Wolverines, and a big-time credit to what USC was able to do up front on the offensive line. 265 yards through the air for the Trojans, 225 yards on the ground. That's exactly the way you want to do it. Right? This was a balanced attack that could attack you, that could stress out a defense in a variety of different ways. I thought when USC got a 2-score lead in the second half, I know it was early in the third quarter. There was 10:45 remaining in the third when they went up 21-7. But I thought when that happened for the Cardinal and Gold, I'm like, this is pretty much over. Now, credit to Michigan for battling back, Bryce Underwood and company getting that touchdown a little bit later on. But that's because when USC got into that position and Michigan without their top running back, and we knew already Michigan was limited throwing the ball down the field. They did not have playmakers that could separate. And I'll say this about USC defensively, about D'Anton Lynn. I think it was pretty clear that that there was no fear, obviously, of any kind. And there was just they knew that they needed to focus on stopping the run game and dedicate more resources to that as opposed to the pass game. They knew the pass game wasn't going to hurt them. And once they got that lead, I think there was faith in their offense that if Michigan was able to mount a comeback, their offense was able to respond the way they were playing against the Wolverines. How about 29 carries, 114 yards on the ground for Michigan? And then Michigan had a long run of 13 yards in this game. Let's kind of go back. Time machine. We're going to play that game right now once again. Okay, if you would have told me those facts about Michigan's run game, and forget everything else, you tell me those facts about the Wolverines on the ground, I'm like, yeah, USC's winning the game. USC is winning the game because a lot of success, specifically like for Michigan in their win at Nebraska earlier this season. You can even go back to last year's matchup where the Wolverines rushed for over 200 yards against the Trojan defense. It was all about the explosive run game, and Michigan never got it. So when Michigan never got it, you got to rely on the pass game. And I think when they got behind as much as they did, they had to try to do that to get back into that game. And I think that maybe contributes a little bit to this effort, but it doesn't minimize what the Trojans were able to do on the defensive line. I talk about playing line of scrimmage, Big Ten football. This defensive line, there are talented players up front for USC. And I'm not sure what happened against Illinois. That, at least at the moment, we'll see what happens going on the road, because we've seen in the Big Ten era for USC, things can be a little bit different at home versus on the road. But, they played a lot better, certainly, at the line of scrimmage on the defensive line in the front seven against the Wolverines than they certainly did against Illinois in their loss from earlier this season. So big time credit to them. How about Bishop Fitzgerald on the back end of this thing? 2 interceptions. He's been a pick machine this year. He also had 5 tackles. I want to flip back quickly for USC to the offensive side of the ball. I freaking love Mekhi Lemon. I mean, how can you not love this kid right now? He's 9 catches, 93 yards, and a score. Like, he's separated himself really as the top weapon on this team. He's going to be a first-round draft pick most likely in the NFL draft. I mean, he can do so many different things. He's so versatile. I love him on the tunnel screen. I love him when they get the blockers out in front, and Mayava kind of threads the needle a little bit. And then just the catch and run, and you kind of hold your breath a little bit to see exactly what Mekhi can do and his explosiveness, his change of direction, to be able to read off of some of these blockers. It's just... It's really fun to watch. And Michigan didn't have an answer for USC throwing the ball. They didn't have an answer running the football as well. Big time victory for USC. I want to say a couple of quick things right now about Michigan. I love Bryce Underwood. He's probably, and then I do love Justice Haynes as well, but of course he got hurt in this game. But that's probably the only things that I love about Michigan right now. There might be some other things that I like. There might be some other things that show some promise. I know Andrew Marsh had a big-time game on the outside. Like, the youth is really good for the Wolverines, but this team right now, it's just like, remember a couple of years ago on this very channel when Michigan is doing their thing in 2023? I used to come on here after all those Michigan's games, and I would tell you, they can beat you any way they choose to beat you. And then, of course, last season happened. And now you have what you have this year. Even though improved quarterback play, this is a Michigan team. If they don't get the explosive runs, if they're not dominating at the line of scrimmage, it's still going to be difficult for them to be able to generate much offensively. And when you have that, and then you look to the defensive side of the ball, you don't have those NFL studs that you did a year ago in the middle of the defensive line. Now, of course, there's good players all across this defense, but it's just maybe not at that level that we've seen, that obviously we saw during the Jim Harbaugh era, and of course that we saw last season for Michigan. But I want to close out with USC, because I think Lincoln Riley was putting a lot of effort. He was putting a lot of resources into be able to play well and to be able to look like they did on Saturday. This is a big win. I'm really curious to see where USC is going to go from here in a big time, prime time atmosphere on the road in South Bend next weekend. Because I don't want to see a performance like they had against Illinois. Because then all of a sudden we're riding a roller coaster. We're doing a little seesaw type of thing, back and forth, a little bit of inconsistency. I want to see this USC team be consistently good at the line of scrimmage. I want to see USC continue to take steps up and be a more consistent football team. I think that you want to take this win and continue to build off of it, because this is an impressive win. USC's in a really good spot right now if they can get this level of play out of the offensive line and the defensive line. We'll see what happens the rest of the season. I can't wait to find out that about the Trojans. All right, that'll wrap things up on this reaction. USC looking good. Michigan got to go back to the doctor a little bit to fix things up for the rest of the season. All right, until next time, I'm Big Ten Ted. We will see you in the next one.